Hello, Felix Jones and Lego Cheetah, and I know, once again, long time no see, we'll talk about all that later, but first, let's get right down to the matter of the fact that all of those sexist, prejudiced bastards can go and take their shitty little opinions and cram it right up their fucking arses, because I'm about to say that I really enjoyed this film. And on top of that, I'm going to name it like third best new film I've seen this year. I think definitely top 3 anyway, like up there with not with Ghost, but up there with Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters, and of course that magnum opus that we all love, the very obscure and very classic film Ghostbusters. Wait, anyway, but yeah. Top 3 of the year, and just really good. I really enjoyed this film. I shan't beat around the bush for ages. Let's get right down into this thing. And so yeah, to start off this movie, I'm gonna have to go at some points. I don't want to have to compare this to the original Ghostbusters, but it's like fucking impossible not to, because I mean, and they make a point of like reminding us of the original Ghostbusters quite frequently in this movie, which is one of the few things that I really didn't get on with in this film. I mean, I don't mind it, and the times that they do, actually, it's pretty funny, and the way that they do it's quite nice. You know, it's nice little nods, but then sometimes it can be quite heavy-handed. And I just think that it's annoying, because I do believe that this film is good in its own right. In fact, I would in many ways call it better than the original Ghostbusters. I love the original Ghostbusters. It's long been a favourite, well, it was more like a favourite of mine in my teenage years, which obviously is only very recently. But yeah, I think there are definitely some more perks to this one, and I will have to talk about the two in comparison with each other. But yeah, as I said, I really don't get on with, you know, referencing the original, because it just kind of detracts and undermines the film in its ability to exist as a good film in its own right. I mean, like, it reminds me of, like, one of the big... I'm just using this as an excuse to talk about something that's really pissed me off, but in the first episode of Peter Capaldi's Doctor Who, after Matt Smith regenerated into Peter Capaldi, there's a scene where the Doctor, what's her name, Clara, gets Doctor Who trivia, and I nearly didn't remember it. I'll keep this brief. Clara gets a phone call from Matt Smith, that's like a call from the past, and it's prior to his regeneration. He's like, oh yeah, remember that guy is still me. And that really undermines the new Doctor, because it's just like, yeah, the audience is going to be so incredibly alienated by him, and we are so incapable of making him just likeable again in his own right, that we've just got to pull in a clip from the last Doctor in order to vindicate this one's existence. So yeah, I just kind of use that as an excuse. I should talk about Ghostbusters. But yeah, Ghostbusters, this film, good comedy, a lot of nice little laugh out loud moments. It wasn't like the funniest film I've ever seen, and that's nothing to do with the fact that there was women in it. I mean, it was just not like the funniest movie I've ever seen. I'm going to talk about that. Obviously, that's a big thing. Don't think that what I just said there, that sounded like I thought I was falling into a trap. I'm going to talk all about that sort of thing. Don't worry, I've kind of got that sort of like a lot more covered than a lot of people seem to, and also just like we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, one of the first things that I thought about this movie when I saw the trailer was that I thought, you know, it could go either way. I thought it looked okay, but most of all, I thought it looked great. I mean, like the aesthetic, it looked really colourful. CGI looked great. I thought Slimer looked great. I thought all the ghosts in the trailer looked great, and that really came into fruition when watching this movie. Because, and I hate to go back on, like I said, and criticise the original Ghostbusters, but the original Ghostbusters is quite a grey movie. The colours are very toned down comparatively. This movie was very colourful, just lovely aesthetic, really nice to look at. I'm not like a huge person I'm not huge on aesthetic in movies, you know, like aesthetic goes way below writing and such for me usually. But obviously it can really help. I mean, I hate Drive, and I'm not a big fan of like Nightcrawler and such. I hate movies that are just focus so much on the aesthetic and the writing's terrible. But you know, if you've got a movie with a great aesthetic as well as great writing like Birdman or Blade Runner, then you know it really helps the package. And so as a contribution to the whole package. And yeah, this movie was really colourful, way more pleasant to look at, and so yeah, I definitely put this movie above that for that reason. I've just sorry, I've got some points. Just going to check my notes quickly. But yeah, so aesthetic, really good. Comedy, like I said, not the funniest movie I've ever seen in my life. It was pretty I had lots of decent chuckling, laugh out loud moments a lot of the time. Not the same time as the other people in the audience. In fact, some other people in the audience were hooting. Some people really loved it, so it's good to know that some people are really enjoying it. But yeah, but then again, going back to the original Ghostbusters, I've tried to show it to a few people over the last year or so. I've shown it to 3 different people who haven't seen haven't seen the movie before, who were my girlfriend Sykes, who hadn't seen it, Sykes, who usually reviews with me in Double Pointed, and my younger brother, and I don't think I even managed to finish it with 2 out of 3 of those people, just because, like, I think, like I said, I really do enjoy the film, but I think most of the laugh out loud moments are in the second half, which makes it sort of hard to get into the original opening part, and it is American comedy, and there are certain things that, looking back, like, I don't want to harp on about, but like there are certain things that I'm avoiding in this movie because it's women who are the lead Ghostbusters, so we don't have to have incredibly male and quite unpleasant things thrown in. Like in this movie, but somehow I'm spared. I find myself profoundly happy about the fact that I'm spared having one of the character introductions be a man who's trying to trick and manipulate a young girl into sleeping with him, who's coincidentally one of his own students, as he's a professor at a college. And I'm quite cheerily spared of a scene in which Dan Aykroyd gets sucked off by a ghost. Even if it isn't a dream sequence, I don't really need that in my film. So yeah, like I said, there are certain things that I'm actually sort of glad to be without in this movie. But yeah, this movie, in the modern Ghostbusters, like I said, it's not the funniest movie I've ever seen, but there were still a lot of laugh out loud moments, probably as many as when I watched the original Ghostbusters for the first time, and they were better paced out. Like, they were spread out over the course of the film, and it kept me interested. What else to talk about? Like, there's a lot of the what am I trying to walk on to? Yeah, let's see. Well, a couple of things. This movie is actually, I think it can exist in its own right, because in some ways it's like a very different film. I should firstly say that all of the characters are way more human than I feel the characters were in the original Ghostbusters. There aren't that many moments, I think, that are that character defining in the original Ghostbusters movie. It's like Bill Murray is sarcastic and facetious, and Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, God rest his soul, are nerds, play nerd characters. But whereas in this, I feel like they're actually way more well-rounded human beings that we're seeing on screen, and that makes it so much better. I mean, there are definitely scenes in the original Ghostbusters that I really like because you get to see some more of the actual Ghostbusters character in them. Like I like that scene in Ghostbusters 2 where they were switching on their power packs, and it's like Do Re Egon, you know the one. If you've seen it. If not, I really like that moment because it tells you, because it gives you a little nice insight into the characters. But the thing is, I don't feel like you actually get that much of that in there. Bill Murray's just making puns half the movie, and they spend most of the movie with him anyway. So yeah, it really sounds like I'm just cutting that movie down. I don't mean to, but I don't want to, because I do like it as a film. But like Bill Murray compared to as a character, Bill Murray's character, Spengler? No, Venkman. Venkman is like a character from a Zucker Brothers movie compared to the characters in this. He's way more just jokes based. He's not as well rounded, and this really helps. And it really helps the characters in this version, because when I see them as much more human, I really find myself getting behind the action a lot more, and like and not just the action, but also like the scenes where they like the scenes where they get excited about the fact that they're ghost busting or the fact that they've seen ghosts. I'm just like, there is some of that in the originals, but when I'm seeing it in this, I'm just like, I'm so much more happy for these people because I feel like they're more like real people, and so I find myself getting behind it more. I feel more compelled by the actual characters. So yeah, there's that. I mean, there wasn't a single character who I didn't like in this film. Even Kate McKinnon's character, I had to just look at the actresses' names there because I don't know their names because they're female. Because obviously my mind's been fucked by the white male privilege. Like I said, we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I really had to work on that. Also, I haven't seen Bridesmaids, which I really should. Especially, I mean, and I haven't even really seen any Melissa McCarthy movies until before now, and you know, so, like I've seen a lot of her trailers and I've just thought, oh, that doesn't look like my sort of thing. Not because, again, not because she was a female, just you know, a cis woman. Just because I didn't want to have to just because I didn't look like my sense of humour, you know, like lots of fat jokes and that sort of thing, and yeah, I was just like, no, that doesn't like my sort of thing. But I've heard Bridesmaids is really good, and I really should see it. But yeah, so I'll get on to that. Kate McKinnon's character, she was the one who I definitely had the most apprehension about going in, just because I thought that she was going to be like one of those, just, you know, look at me, attention-seeking, look at me, I'm crazy, and I'm so strange and wacky. Check out my wacky behaviour and the wacky way I dress with steampunk goggles, which does kind of piss me off, like that fashion sense. But even by the end, I was really enjoying even her character. I liked her as well. She was funny. She was enjoyable. So yeah, that. Oh God, she kicks some ass in one scene. That's another thing about this movie. It's much more of an action film at points. I mean, like, it's not filled with action, and like the actual conclusion. I'm not going to go into any spoilers, but like the conclusion of this movie is quite sort of. It doesn't make a huge amount of logical sense, and there's like, I'm definitely watching it thinking, oh look, this, you know, this definitely doesn't quite make sense. They should be easily defeated in this situation, but it doesn't matter because it's a comedy. So yeah, we don't need to get that hooked. I'm not that compelled by the characters, but yeah, yeah, she kicks some ass. There's in this scene. Another thing I really like is there's a lot of different versions of the Ghostbusters theme in this. Like there's a hip hop one kind of thing that I didn't get into. I didn't like that, but because I'm just not a big fan of hip hop. But yeah, then there were other versions that were really cool. Like there were some cool rock ones, and so yeah, I'd look forward to all of that. And there were a couple of other things. This actually I just popped into my head that there's this one scene near the beginning in their first encounter, which that was another good thing. The plot really did sort of skew off from the original Ghostbusters. They did sort of follow a similar pattern-ish at first. When you've got like the scene with the first encounter with the Ghostbusters before they have the addition of Leslie Jones, or just like. I mean, obviously that's it's the black one. I mean, no, I'm not saying that's her character at all. Sorry, I mean, like, it's because she's obviously just a stand-in for Annie Hudson, and you know that we've got the exact same thing in the original Ghostbusters, where you've got the original 3 white guys all hanging around together. Apart from it's 3 white girls now, and girls, women, and anyway. Yeah, you've got and they have the interaction with the first ghost. That's very much like the original Ghostbusters. And God, they really took the poignancy out of that scene, because there was a bit of product placement in this movie. It wasn't too bad, except for in that one scene where it was really heavy-handed and like really gratuitous, and it was going on throughout the scene. Like they kept coming back to it. It was like, hey, look, new ghost and Pringles advert, and that was really distracting. But yeah, so there were definitely problems. That was a bit of a problem, but I'm kind of glad that they sort of got that out of the way early on. I was just like, all right, it's near the beginning of the film. Let the advertisers, you know, blast you up the ass. But you know, then put it behind you and we move on. And we did, and it was good. So yeah, I've talked about that. Chris Hemsworth is also in. You know, I'm only mentioning him separately just because he was also just a charm. He plays like this airhead type character, and I'd say meathead, but he's not like very aggressive hetero masculine male. He's just like a doofus, and that was something that I think they definitely could have worked on the introduction of that at first, because like the first idiot joke is kind of really bizarre, and it kind of comes out of nowhere. If they'd established like just 30 seconds, if they just reordered the jokes and established that he was an idiot earlier on, it would have felt like an easier transition. But when you do finally realise that he's an idiot, like, it's just like, oh yeah, that joke kind of makes sense, but more like in hindsight. And you can't really have retroactive humour so much unless so let's go. But we'll go past that. I mean, there were definitely some parts in this movie, especially near the start. I think there were just a couple of scenes where it felt like every now and then it felt like the script had been cut up a bit, or maybe like there was a bit of a mess in the editing room, because there were just conversations where sometimes where I would often feel like, did we just turn over? Did we just skip 2 lines, or did we turn over an extra page in the script just because it didn't quite feel like the conversations were flowing? But I can live with that, and it didn't persist throughout the entire movie. So yeah, that wasn't so bad. Anyway, what should I talk about next? Okay, yeah. Now I'm going to talk about I think maybe, having said all this, really good film. I really enjoyed it. A lot of laughs. I was actually in a really shitey mood today, and I went to see this film, and just brightened me up 100%, fueled me, filled me with laughter and joy. Was so happy and ready to, keen to come home and talk about it. And I've still got a lot to talk about. But especially because this is also great for me coming back to my reviews after a long time. I want to really try and incorporate more of these ideas. Let's get down to the whole. It's a bunch of women, and people obviously showed a bunch of hate for this film when it was being advertised online. People slam. I mean, obviously you have to know, but just in case you don't, people slammed these trailers online. Shitloads of dislikes, like the most disliked trailers ever to get up on YouTube. I don't even know if that's more than the Christmas Story sequel, A Christmas Story sequel, but. Probably. I mean, I heard that it was the most disliked trailer, so it would have to be worse than A Christmas Story sequel. But yeah, and obviously a large part of that is because it's featuring a bunch of women. I mean, it's also a remake, and when I originally heard about the fact that it was a remake, I was a little bit like, oh, well, I would have preferred it if it continued the universe, and I don't want to see and I also reboots, I've got my issues with them. I really didn't like the first Amazing Spider-Man movie because I felt like it was just copying loads of moments that were in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, and but in this we have got some copying, but I mean obviously there's it's a lot of homages, but it definitely goes off somewhere else, and I think it's a really good origin story. I really enjoyed it as an origin story, and so yeah, we've got that, but yeah, there was a lot of hate about the fact that this was starring a bunch of women. My opinion has changed a lot. I want to incorporate a lot of new ideas into the way that I review films because, I met a girl who I have fallen in love with, and she, in exchange, it seems, for back rubs and just generally being in a relationship, she's schooled me. She schooled me on portrayal of women in the media and just feminist issues in general. I've been reading so many more books by women and trying to get I want to see so many more women in the media now. Just strong female protagonists. That's my I think, as Michael Swaim said in a cracked video I saw earlier today, it's that's my jam. Yeah, that is what I want to see. So yeah, we've got that, and so yeah, it even led to me taking a course in university in staging gender, which was fantastic. I'd never realised just how crammed into the public consciousness this hate of women, just from the origination of literature, from the Bible onwards, just hate of women, just suppression, misrepresentation, perpetuation of horrible stereotypes and prejudices, and this is what sort of leads me to get on to talking about this in respect of this movie, because I mean, I don't even necessarily have that much of a problem with all the dicks out there who don't want to go see the film because they've got these ideas so rammed into their heads that they can't just bend their beliefs a little bit just to try something different and try and and try and accept new ideas of having women as being strong lead characters, and maybe even sympathetic ones. I can sympathise with somebody because of a different gender. Anyway, yeah, we can talk about all of that, but I should probably make it clear as well. I'm not trying to say I'm so much more fucking enlightened than. Sorry, I'm getting a bit aggressive. I think it's got something to do with him. I quite like that. It's have you seen the original, the first ever Hulk comic where it's Bruce Banner and then he's got the huge Hulk behind him. He's grey in that, but you get the idea. It's and then I transform. But yeah, sorry, coming back. I'm not trying to say that I'm so goddamn motherfucking enlightened and so much better than you, because I really am not. That my change has been really recent, and a lot of these beliefs that I've been carrying on to for years, and they're really rammed into my subconscious on some levels. I mean, not that I would ever consider myself. I always thought I wasn't a sexist person, but there were definitely still levels. Even today, I had a situation. I was surfing YouTube earlier today, and I was a bit hungover, and so I was in a bit of a funny mood. Like I've also, like I said, I've been in a really bad mood all day, and it's just I wasn't like on high mental functioning. I was surfing YouTube, and I was looking up some of the cast of Bob's Burgers because it's a TV show that I really enjoy. And oh yeah, I forgot to say what the other two best movies of 2016 were. It's Captain America 3 and Zootopia, at number 1, Zootopia. But we'll come back to that. We'll talk all about that, and I'm going to do like a catch-up review, and I'm going to do like a review of loads of the movies that have come out lately. There have been like a bunch of stinkers, so I'm going to have a good time tearing into some of those. But yeah, I've, like I said, it's... God, I've really lost my point. Oh yeah, I was surfing stuff with Bob's, but I was surfing the cast of Bob's Burgers on YouTube, and I watched this, and I came to this video of Kristen Schaal, or Charles, doing stand-up. She voices Louise in the TV series, and despite the fact that I know that this is a very funny female comedian, very funny young woman, and who I really enjoy the work of, and so yet when I was about to click on it, I just felt this some feeling of just dread suddenly come over me, just like the sort of dread that I usually feel when I'm about to watch like the stand-up of a friend. It's just like when I know that I'm about to watch bad stand-up, and it was completely unfounded. I really a big problem in hindsight. I mean, I never usually get that these days. I'm going to work on that if that comes up again. But yeah, it's just that it's been so drilled into the public consciousness, like that women either can't be funny, or funny women are sort of something that should set a person on edge on some level. It's completely ridiculous and really terrible, and it's something I want to work on. But my point is, I'm not actually that much better than you. I've got stuff to work on. Everyone has stuff to work on. Just being a man practically makes me sexist in some ways. I can't even be a feminist because of my gender and my sex. But I mean, it's just the way that I've been treated. Like, I always thought that I always felt like I never got to see, especially when people, minorities, would talk about to me their experiences of mistreatment and prejudice. I always just thought, I'd always think, God, I never see this sort of thing because I'm not in the I'm in the wrong position. Not in a bad, not like I'm saying that in a good way, as if, oh God, I wish I was in that position. I mean, it's horrible how people treat women and ethnic minorities. Ethnic minority isn't even the right term, but because they're not the minority really. Anyway, but yeah. I always thought it was terrible the way they treated these people, but I was just like, I was just not something that I was properly aware of. But it's way worse than I ever thought it was, and it's just something that I myself have to really work on, and I have been working on, and I've been really thoroughly enjoying becoming more progressive and getting all these new ideas in my head. But yeah, let me now specifically talk about why it's a problem in relation to the Ghostbusters movie. Because like I said, I really don't give a damn about all these idiots who want to hold on to their bitter little archaic prejudices. If you want to hide away in some cave and pretend that the world isn't changing, although Christ, there's been a lot of nasty stuff going on since the EU referendum. Pull yourselves together, people. I mean, what is... let's not get too stuck into that. The reason why it's a problem isn't because these idiots want to go and just hate on everything that they aren't ready to understand and accept into their views of the world. I don't give a damn about those people. What I care about was manifested quite clearly in front of my eyes the other day when I came home from I didn't come home from anywhere actually. I haven't got a job at the moment. But yeah, I was in the kitchen with my little brother. He was talking about the trailers, and he was going, "Oh yeah, it looks terrible. It looks terrible." I don't want to point fingers at my little brother. I mean, to be fair, he's just sort of like a product of the situation. But yeah, he was going, "Oh God, it looks terrible." And I said to him, "Max, why do you think it looks terrible?" And he says, well, firstly, it's a bunch of women who are doing it, and secondly, it's a remake of a great movie. Suffice it to say, I screamed at him. Firstly, the first point is the most ridiculously unfounded and terrible thing to think. I mean, where is he even getting these beliefs? Just out of nowhere, he thinks that... I mean, it's just obvious that he's just nodding along to the last opinion that he heard. And as if that wasn't blatant enough in the first ridiculous, completely unfounded idea, He hasn't even seen the original Ghostbusters, as far as I know. I'm pretty sure that he hasn't, and so that it just makes it all the more transparent that he's just nodding along to the last opinion that he heard. Like I said, I don't actually want to point fingers at him because he's just sort of like a product of the broken system. But sorry, that was like a bit of a hippie oversimplification of the idea. But yeah, he's just nodding along to opinions that he's heard. Not really his fault, as such. I mean, it's something that he could work on, but it's not. Anyway, that aside, well, the problem is that my point is the problem with this situation where these people are going online and they're screaming off these ideas, these ridiculous, archaic ideas, is that they're perpetuating them and they're teaching them to the younger generation, and that's it's just going to, if anything, completely stall progression in terms of popular opinion, and it's really just altogether a horrifying situation. I was really like very upset when I heard him say these things, and it really is just a blatant manifestation of the issue and why it's such a big problem and why people shouldn't just ignore it and just go, oh yeah, no, and why, I mean, people just do need to work on their beliefs because. I mean, not obviously. If you're, I think everybody can continue to work on it. It's not like I won't say like I don't want to attack the viewer, you as a viewer, and accuse you of being unenlightened or anything. And I'm not, like I say, I'm not claiming that I'm enlightened. I think it's like it's just an uphill struggle. Like there's no final peak. There's no full awareness at which point I can say, you know, especially for a male who wants to be like a feminist ally or something. There's no point where I can say, oh, I know it all, or a male ally, you know, like a cis man could probably never can never really say that he knows what it really feels like to be. Maybe if he was like a trans at one time, and they obviously receive a lot of abuse, but I don't think as much as women. Either way, it's I think they do receive a horrible amount of abuse, trans people, although of course don't know, I'm not trying to undermine them. But yeah, my point is that it's an uphill thing, and there's no point where you can finally say, I have a complete knowledge and I am fully enlightened. It's just, you've got to keep working on your ideas, and you've got to be ready to listen to these new ideas. I mean, I myself was so reluctant when I first heard about these kind of ideas. Like my girlfriend and I were sat in the car together, and we were talking about feminist ideas, and we ended up getting into this huge argument because she was saying like men are like a potential threat. Men as a group are a potential threat, and I thought well, she was saying like all men can be violent and all men are a threat. And she said, I think that was what originally, when she said all men are a threat, and I was like, oh, what, you think that men are just like going to rally together in an army and attack you? You think that men are like an oppressive force who are going to suddenly, I mean, obviously they are, but I mean, like they're like like it's by design, like it's like a spread, like it's a fully conscious thing. Everybody is aware that and very much intent on oppressing women. And that's not what she meant. She meant that that it's that every man is a potential threat, and they are, because we've got like a physical dominance most of the time, and in pretty much all cases. And yeah, it's something that I did take a lot of time. It took a lot of time for me to start listening to these new ideas, and I haven't even read any feminist literature yet. But going to like staging. I mean, I've read like some really great plays and books about women and about presentation of women in plays and media. But I haven't actually gotten onto the point of reading like much feminist literature. I really would like to. I really should, and I probably will, hopefully, in the near future. But that aside, yeah, it's we all have to keep working on our ideas, and it's difficult. It is really difficult to pull yourself out of a situation where, just without knowing about it, you've been holding on to lots of sexist ideas for a very long time. And and it's just something that that people have to adjust to and be ready and willing to start to just opening themselves up to these new ideas. And I mean, it's not like somebody's asking you to. It's not like buying into a new religion or something where it's like, oh, this defies the logic of my mind. Like I don't think that like there's no proof for these ideas. There is proof. Like and it's everywhere around you. And the treatment of women is frankly atrocious. The pay gap is terrible, and I'm this whole video is sort of descending into not descending, if anything, it's ascending into a discussion of feminist ideas from one single white guy who's not got anybody else to bounce the ideas off of. yeah, let's not. I'll try not to harp on about it for too much longer. But yeah, like I say, just it's something that we should all keep working on. Treatment of women in our society is terrible. I'd hate to be. I could not. I mean, I'd hate to be a woman like walking alone at home, walking at home alone at night in this modern society. I find that really, frankly, terrifying as a concept to some extent, and obviously, but yeah. So I think it's something that we all need to work on. Let's move on from that. Basically my point is that it is an issue that people are hating on this trailer just because hating on the trailer, hating on this film before they've even seen it, just because it's about women, and it's just something for people to work on. People really have to get into action. I've said that several times now. I should probably shut up about that. Anyway, that being said, all in all, good film. Go see it. Let's get some more women in the. Let's get some more women in the media. Some more strong female protagonists. I mean, we've got a few going on, but not nearly enough to the point where it's not like a novelty still. And I'm not suggesting that the appeal for me is that it's a novelty. It's just that is in any kind of novelty. It's just that it's like it's still out of the ordinary at this point. That we haven't. It hasn't balanced out. It's not. I mean, it's another thing about male oppression is that it's kind of like impossible to win the fight because. We spent so long building these ideas and like forcing them into the heads of our young people of men that it's impossible to really ever fully eradicate them. It's God, it's a bit of an old mess really. So like, yeah, I think we're going to start talking about it now. And I'm going to talk about my plans for the near future. So yeah, problems with not many problems with the film. I really enjoyed it. Go see it. Heavy-handed references to the previous movie, but that doesn't really matter that much, and they're actually quite well done at points. So yeah, things I'm going to talk about now. Where I've been for the last while. Well, and what my plans are for the near future. Plans for the near future, and where I've been. I've been at university for the last 3 years, and that's what stopped me from doing a lot of creativity. But I'm not going to lie and say that my lack of output has been entire. There are excuses I could give. Like I started working on the latest pop culture alcoholic video, and it was like a really massive project, which I hadn't thought how big of a project it would turn out to be. My laptop slowed way the hell down, which made editing so much of a more arduous process, deterring me from carrying it on. But I'm not going to sit here and say that it wasn't partially just a shitload of laziness, because it was, but then that was the worst part about it. Like today, one of the reasons I was in such a shitey mood all day is because I was looking at my YouTube channel and I can't even bear to look at it to some extent because it makes me feel so bad. Even if it's only a few people who are. This won't be a problem in future. I'm going to work on this and just making this video has really helped. But yeah, I couldn't bring myself to look at my YouTube channel last night and this morning just because. I felt so ashamed of the fact that I hadn't put out anything, and I know that I don't have like a huge audience who are tenuously waiting on me with holding their breaths for my next video. But that doesn't really matter. The point is that I hope that the people who watch this, my subscribers, do care and they want to see the next video. And you know, I just felt terrible. The longer I leave it, the worse it gets. You know. And it really stops me from trying to get into it. It destroys my confidence, causes me a shitload of stress. And it's all in my own head. I mean, I also get like this thing. I've had this thing lately where I keep doubting my own intelligence on at points. Like I keep thinking that I'm losing my memory because I'm quite tall, so I'm used to getting blows to the head. So I'm kind of working on it now. It's kind of going, but I used to have this big paranoia thing about losing my memory because of all the blows to the head that I've taken in my life. But yeah, I don't think that's. I think it's probably actually quite unfounded. It's entirely psychological. The more that I stress about it, the worse that it gets. I can't think straight because I'm worried about not being able to think straight. Anywho, it's something that I'm working on. The reason why I've been away for so long is partially because of those reasons, and so I do just want to get back into making videos and not let it become like a task or a chore, like I was talking myself into it being. Really, I do love making videos, and I've had like such a lovely time just recording this one. It's been really nice. So yeah, I have also been busy. Like another thing, I've been travelling up and down the country a lot. I didn't get any student halls this time, so I've been moving between Dorset and living with my girlfriend in Cardiff whilst attending university in Bath. So I've been zooming. I mean, it's all in sort of like the southwest area and like the south of Wales. But I've still been like zooming all about the country. It's hard to even have like everything together at any one point. And one of the reasons I remember when I tried to do a review for oh, what was it? Was it Deadpool? Yeah, Deadpool. When I went to do the Deadpool review, I finally set up the camera, got everything ready, realised that my camera was dead and that my charger was 111 miles away. Yeah, so it's just like, fuck, it's so embarrassing. But yeah, something I'm working on. I'm just gonna try and get back into it and just enjoy it like I always have, and should be doing, and I do love it. And I'm really glad to have like people who do care about my videos who will be watching them. I hope that you haven't all forgotten about me. I wouldn't blame you if you had, but I hope not. Anywho, that being said, it's something that I'm hoping to pick up on things. I have been writing a lot in other areas. I've not too many things that I can get onto the actual YouTube channel, although I did do this long monologue in the style of my old soapboxes, which was inspired by the writings of philosopher Roland Barthes. And I basically did this half-an-hour monologue on stage, and called Working a Few Things Out. It's Felix Jones and the Welcome to Me Working a Few Things Out. And so yeah. I'm adding subtitles to that at the moment, so I can get that up on YouTube, and because the audio is not amazing. I wish I'd recorded it myself, but they assured me that the examiners were going to be recording it, and I expected them to do a much higher quality one than they did. I mean, it doesn't look awful. But the audio could be better, and so I'm going to subtitle it, and then people can watch that and enjoy it. I might also do like a version. Maybe release like one of the rehearsal tapes or something, or actually restage it in like the same style that I did my original soapboxes, just sat talking to camera, because then people will be able to watch it without having to worry about subtitles. But it'd be cool to be able to see me on stage. Yeah, be cool. It'd be really cool. Please say it would be cool. Yeah, let's not worry too much about that. So yeah, that's my plan at the moment. Getting that up, and also I'm going to do a catch-up review where I talk about the movies that come out over the time period where I wasn't really active, and I'm going to get the next pop culture alcoholic review out as quickly as possible. I'm not working at the moment. I'm looking for jobs desperately all over the area. I haven't managed to find anything. I've sent out so many applications, getting nothing back. But still, I might as well use the time I've got to try and to work on my videos. So yeah, things aren't actually going too badly. I mean, apart from like I said, my lack of creativity has been really winding me up. But just doing this is really helping, and it's good to know that I'm getting back into making YouTube videos, and I'm looking forward to getting this up. And the fact that I've managed to talk about so many interesting things. I mean, that sounds a little bit self-aggrandizing. That's not what I mean. Like, sorry about that cracking noise, by the way. I've also recently invested in. Well, me and my girlfriend invested in some horrible creatures who live in my room now, who I am going to move out when I do reviews, because they are disgusting and I feel like their presence might be quite distracting because they are revolting. They're rats, by the way. Sorry if you're not amazingly comfortable with rats. Trigger warning ahead of time would have been more appropriate. Sorry about that. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. Catching up and all that sort of thing. Really, thank you so much for watching this video. Like I said, it's been really nice to talk about these really interesting subject matters, such as yeah, that noise was him eating, by the way. These really interesting subject matters, such as these feminist issues, and I've barely touched on a lot of stuff. There's so much still to learn about for everybody and for me. And so but I'm still really glad to be able to talk about this, because it's something that I want to bring into my reviewing in the future. I'm not going to let it hugely affect how I do my reviews, but I'm going to try and incorporate it into it. I don't want it to affect my sense of humour in the reviews too much, but I do want it to affect how I view films, and how I want to be able to view them in a more balanced light and be more conscious of portrayals of gender, which I just am now, almost automatically, after spending so long working on it. That's another thing about this film. No annoying romance. I mean, like, there is a bit where there is a good section where oh god, now it's come up that I don't know the actress's name. the lead actress from Bridesmaids. I feel really bad about not having a name to hand. I don't want to switch on my laptop. I could quickly switch it on, but you know who I mean. The lead actress of Bridesmaids, who's clearly the lead in this. Oh god, I'm going to have to quickly look because I feel so bad about not knowing her name. There's a scene where her character is when she first Kristen Wiig's character, when she first meets Chris Hemsworth's character, like there's a subplot in this film that she finds him attractive, but that never really comes to anything, and they never actually get together. The film's way more about female friendship than any real hint of romance, and that's fucking great. I want to see more of that. That's another thing that I definitely want to see more of. No less cliche love stories. We don't need to have every man and woman just get together because they're a man and a woman. Let's let's work on that. There's huge things still in modern movies. I can't believe how incredibly prolific it still is. Anywho, well, thanks very much for watching. Look forward to seeing you again and getting my future videos out. Please do comment, like, subscribe, whatever you feel like doing. I'd love to hear back from you, especially regarding this review, because I've talked about a lot of stuff, personal stuff. I want you to be able to appreciate like the pop culture alcoholic and that sort of thing as characters. But still, I am, a human being, and making things like this for you, I want to entertain, but I also want to, on some level, make a connection with you as a human being. So if you want to come back at me, throw some comments at my way, or send a message, I would really love to read them. So that'd be very interesting for me. Again, thank you very much for watching. This has been a really fun experience. Just a reminder that I need to get back to making more of this stuff. Thank you very much. Felix Jones, like a cheetah. Good night.